Greetings, this is Doc Ock coming to you live and direct from Black Facts Headquarters Central this evening. Good evening, good evening, good evening to all. We hope everybody had a good day today. Hope everybody had a good day today. We had a decent day, got a few things done, a little bit here and there. And as always, we learn a lot. We learn a lot every single day. And we hope what you learned is to make sure to go ahead and give us a like when we first come on. Give us a thumbs up if you're watching on YouTube. And, of course, if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to the Tubular Black Facts channel. And one last thing, go ahead and spread the love to your family, your friends, and even your enemies. Maybe you can turn them into some frenemies. Meanwhile, let's go ahead and read our proverb of the day. Let's see what we got today. We've been running through these proverbs like crazy. And we're about to run out. Let's see what we got now. Ana ya fikiri amesimama angalie asianguke. That one is hard. Okay. He who thinks he's standing should be on his guard not to fall down. He who thinks he is standing stably should be on his guard not to fall down. So, be aware of your circumstances at all times. Be prepared like a Rasta scout, and you'll leave no doubt that you are on top of your game. Now, let's see what kind of game Sister Ona is up to tonight. What is she into tonight? Because she's into something. Let's see what I got here. Oh, yeah, here we go. All right. Chapter 22. Out of how many? I think it's 23 chapters. We're almost done here. No, there's 26. We got a ways to go. We're going to make it to the end of the week with this one. This will be exactly 1 month. Mrs. Staines. That's Staines. Mrs. Staines. 3 days after Joseph Whipple penned his letter to the president, Ona celebrated her first Christmas away from the Washingtons. That's our topic for the week. She would not have had enough money to buy expensive gifts for her new friends in Portsmouth, but she may have given them nuts or a small amount of chocolate to thank them for all they had done for her. It had been a terrifying, exhilarating, gratifying year. For the rest of her life, she would always worry about the relatives she had left at Mount Vernon. She would always be worried about being captured. But Joseph Whipple had been correct when he said that Ona had a thirst for complete freedom, period. The fact that she found herself in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, earning money for her work, choosing to make everyday decisions that free people often took for granted, would have seemed unbelievable to her, except that it was indeed true. Ona was also allowed for the first time to control her personal life. This meant that, like many other free men and women, she was able to consider forming her own family on her own terms. And Ona had, in her short time in Portsmouth, found a person she wanted to spend her life with, a free black sailor named Jack Staines. It's kind of funny to think about George Washington's claims that Ona had been scorned by a French boyfriend who had abandoned her when she was pregnant, when in truth, she had met the person she wanted to share her life with. Someone whom she had met and chosen after she had made her momentous decision to run away. Ona had waited long enough. She wanted a husband. The truth was, she also needed a husband. Living alone wasn't easy in early America, especially for a black fugitive woman. Today, we like to believe that most people get to choose their romantic partner. But in early America, men and women across the new nation sometimes married for reasons other than love. Often they married just in order to survive. A young male farmer might marry a woman because her father had promised the farmer some money or property, which is called a dowry, if the farmer married his daughter. When the couple had children, they would grow up to assist their fathers and mothers in the fields, in the house, or in their line of work if they weren't farmers, continuing the cycle. Ona did not have a dowry, but she was young and healthy. Mm, mm, mm. It's impossible to know if she and Jack wanted to get married for convenience, love, or something in between. Whatever the reason, Ona Judge began 1797 with a legal marriage to a free black man whom she had chosen without any outside influence. Less than 1 year earlier, Ona had been told that she would be a wedding gift. Yeah, a wedding gift. Ain't that something? And she knew that in Virginia, she would have never experienced a legal marriage. This was a remarkable leap of circumstances for a young woman in an extremely short period of time. Jack Staines was like many other free black men who lived along the eastern seaboard, choosing to spend long periods of time working at sea. Black men who did this were called what? You know what? Blackjacks. And here he comes. Here he comes. A straight up blackjack. And although this line of work was not seen as proper for white men, it offered opportunity to black men who couldn't find a decent paying job elsewhere. It wasn't that black men were not the targets of racism when they were at sea. They absolutely were. But the position was still seen as preferable to being on the streets, where corrupt slave catchers and kidnappers lurked, waiting to take free black men away and sell them down south. Additionally, many black sailors were often catapulted into positions of honor in early free black communities, receiving equal pay with the white sailors on their voyages. Often, the lump sum payments that Jack Staines and other black seafaring men received when they returned home from their journeys were used to buy land or even a home, an unreachable goal for most black men at the end of the 1700s. Ona knew that being married to a black sailor would be filled with opportunities. She had found someone who could help provide for her and whatever children they might have together. Yet she also knew that marriage to a sailor would mean long absences and weeks of staying home alone. On his side, Jack was almost certainly aware that Ona was a fugitive and thus legally the property of Martha Washington. Martha, not even talking about George, talking about Martha. But whatever the disadvantages to their union, Ona and Jack wanted to be married legally in front of their friends and certified by the government. Jack and Ona celebrated Christmas in 1796 by visiting the county clerk in Portsmouth, where they applied for a marriage certificate. They were careful to follow the law to be certain that their marriage was legally recognized by the state. This was important symbolically, but also practically. If something happened to Jack at sea, Ona was his legal wife. She'd be able to receive any money owed to Jack or any land he had purchased. It would have been a happy story if they had been able to get the approval without any problems, but life was never going to be easy for Ona. Joseph Whipple had heard through the grapevine about Ona's marriage plans, and despite his respect for Ona, he felt it was his duty to tell the Portsmouth County Clerk that she was a fugitive owned by the president's family. Their paperwork was delayed, and soon the county clerk advised the couple that getting a marriage certificate in Portsmouth was impossible. What we know from this is twofold. Number one, Ona and Jack didn't give up. And number two, Joseph Whipple, while remaining truthful, again allowed Ona to live as a free person by not forcing her return to the Washingtons. Ona and Jack must have asked around and collected advice and figured out a way to get what they wanted. They traveled to a smaller, nearby town. See, that's what you do. Yeah. Greenland, which is 5 miles from Portsmouth, where they filled out the documents for the county clerk by the name of Thomas Philbrook. On the very same day that George Washington's farewell address was printed on the first page of the New Hampshire Gazette, January 14, 1797. The news of Ona Judge's marriage to Jack Staines also appeared in the very same newspaper. A simple 10 words publicly announced their union. In this town, Mr. John Staines to Miss Ona Judge. Samuel Haven, Reverend of Portsmouth South Church, married them. The exact details are unknown, but we can guess that Ona would have pulled out one of her nicer dresses, one that she may have worn while serving Martha. A veil would have been too expensive and impractical. Jack probably would have dressed in a tailcoat, a men's dress coat with longer fabric in the rear, and his nicest pair of trousers. There wouldn't have been a fancy reception, but they may have shared a simple dinner common for the time: fish or oyster stew, brown bread, and maybe a bit of Indian pudding for dessert. Yummy, yummy. Ona became Ona Staines. The two of them, we can hope, lived a life of domestic tranquility, at least when Jack was not at sea. We know from the New Hampshire census in 1800 that Jack Staines was listed as the head of household, along with 3 other people in the Staines home. What is noteworthy about this entry is that no slaves were recorded as living in this home, which meant that Ona was passing as a free woman. Early census records offered lots of details for white families, such as the gender and age of all the household occupants. This wasn't the same for black folks. It was only noted whether the inhabitants were free and the total number of people living in the house. That's it. We do not know who the other 2 people were who lived with Ona and Jack, but we can safely assume that at least one of these other housemates was someone in need, just like Ona had been when she'd first arrived in Portsmouth. It was common for poor families to house boarders in their homes if there was room. Because it meant extra money would come at a perfect time because Ona was expecting a child, it was very welcome. Ona would have still continued to work as long as she could while she was pregnant, even scrubbing floors and lifting heavy containers of water, despite her growing belly. But eventually, sometime in 1798, Ona gave birth to a healthy baby girl. They named her Eliza, the same name as the woman who had basically triggered Ona's entire escape from slavery. It is worthwhile to stop and consider what a massive political and personal achievement the birth of Eliza Staines was for Ona. She'd been able to choose her husband, marry him legally, and have a child when she wanted to have a child. She was able to raise Eliza in the way that she and Jack desired. She did not have to rush back to work in the president's house to sew up some dresses like Betty had done for Martha when Ona was born. And Ona did not have to automatically leave Eliza with caregivers from sunup to sundown, as enslaved mothers often had to do. At the same time, Ona never forgot that she was still a fugitive. Worse, according to the current law, she had passed the disease of slavery on to her daughter. Even though Eliza had been born in Portsmouth, and even though Jack Staines was legally a free black man, Ona's status as enslaved meant that Eliza, too, if captured, would be considered enslaved. The pressure on Ona to protect her daughter made her even more determined to never, ever be caught. And that's the name of this book, Never Caught. Just keep that in mind. So we know Ona's story. We know quite a bit about Ona's story up to now. We've got about 3 or 4 more chapters to go. We're going to finish this book off before the end of April. So by May 1st, we'll be done. And you will know the story of Ona Staines, or Ona Judge, however you want to call her. But more importantly, once you know this story, you will also be obligated to not only remember the story, but to tell the story to your friends, your family, and your children too. You need to pass it on. If you can't get the book, you can always refer back to these recordings on YouTube or on Facebook. So you got the whole story, whether you have the book or not. You can always go back and listen to it again like a book on tape. Just one episode. You can binge listen to it if you like. Okay, feel free. The listen's on me. Meanwhile, I'd like everybody out there, if you haven't already, give us a like, a thumbs up, and then go ahead and subscribe to the Tubular Black Facts channel. Don't forget, we got a special this week. It's called Christmas in April. And we're going to be doing an extra segment, extra 20-minute segments each day for the rest of the month about Christmas. Christmas as celebrated as you may remember it to be. No, you know what? We don't really have to focus on how you remember it to be celebrated, because you already know how you celebrate it. We're going to focus on how other people celebrate it, other than you. Well, some of y'all, if y'all living in Denmark or the Netherlands or somewhere, yeah, then we may be talking about some things you're already familiar with. But other than that, or if you're in Germany, for that matter, or in Ethiopia. So we're going to go to a number of other countries on different continents, and we pulled together some information, and we're going to play the first segment tomorrow, right after we finish with our segment on Christmas. Okay, so we'll go into extra innings, and you'll be able to see it on YouTube, and you'll be able to see it on Facebook, because we'll share it on both platforms. So be on the lookout for that. It's going to be very interesting. You're going to learn a whole lot in each one of these extra 20-minute segments. All right? So for now, peace out without a doubt. We'll see y'all later. In the meanwhile, all you little children, do what you need to do. Take that little head and put it on your little pillow, on your little bed. Close those eyes and wait for that big old sun to rise. And when you feel those sunbeams beaming down on your eyes, go ahead and rise and shine, because you are a star, and you know that you are. Peace out.